Hello, my name is David Mercer, and I'm here to tell you about my father, Cecil Mercer. Cecil was born in the north of England. I was born in the Midlands, and I was born 1 year before World War II started. That is the war between Germany, France, and England for the most. The Americans came in much later. The Germans invaded France in 1940, in May of 1940. My father was not in the army at that time, but because of the severe threat of invasion after the British Army, along with French and Belgians, were evacuated through the city and port of Dunkirk, which is a hallmark for the English people, particularly during the World War II. At that time, England was desperately afraid of an invasion from Germany, and many, many men were called up at that time. Along those were my father. He was called into the army, the Worcestershire Regiment, approximately August of 1940. He was not assigned to a fighting regiment, that is to go to, say, fight in North Africa a little later or in the Far East. He was assigned to defend the Ireland or the country of England. And so his regiment was primarily a defense mechanism against a German invasion. But my father was not particularly a soldier as such, although he was trained. My father was a musician, and he was a clarinet player, and he represented the Worcestershire Regiment in their band. He also played the piano accordion, for which his men enjoyed and respected my father for this. This became very apparent later on. In 1944, the invasion of Europe through the ports of Normandy, or the landing beaches of Normandy, my father was not on the first wave going into the battle on June the 6th, 1944. He was designated to go in with the second wave, which he did. My father landed on the beaches of Normandy approximately June the 12th, and they advanced through the existing fighting soldiers on their way to liberate the city of Caen. While they were advancing through, and he was only there about 5 days and 5 evenings, but at night time my father would play the accordion. And this was tremendous comfort and to the men at that time, who could relax without the fighting going on during the nighttime. And the music traveled extensively because at night it was all quiet. And the men respected my father for that. And later on, when my father was killed, they made sure that the accordion was shipped back to England for my mother. But anyway, on June the 6th, the Worcestershire Regiment was advancing on the city of Caen, and he rode in a Brengan carrion. Why? Because my father was the radio operator. And he also was riding in the same vehicle his very best friend, Alf Fudge, who grew up with him, was his best man at his wedding. They joined the army together, and they were in this Brengan carrier advancing on Caen. It was a regimental headquarter vehicle. And so my father was passing messages back and forth as to the action going on. However, unfortunately, the Germans were very good with their mortar bombs, and a mortar bomb hit the vehicle directly, and everybody on board except my father was killed. My father was evacuated, and about 2 days later, on June the 17th, he died of his wounds. His best friend, who was killed outright, along with the regimental company commander and one or two others which were around the vehicle at that time. My father is buried in a cemetery, along with his friend Alf, in a place called Bayeux, which is very famous for his Bayeux tapestry.